This is Karen with NewClevelandRadio.net, and it is time for K-Yaks with Ken Ludmer. And so, Ken, I know we were joking before we started the podcast today, but tonight is the first game of the playoffs, and the Yankees are playing the Indians. You're just
and she put on her Cleveland hat. I made her take it off. She's so cruel. Look at this. I'll have to go get my Yankee hat now. There's two important things in the world today. One is Trump and Biden, and the other one is the Yankees against Cleveland.
And they're
both on at 9 o'clock. They'll both be on at 9 o'clock. So anyway, we'll get past that. So today, I am really excited about having Barbara Masterson as my guest today. Barbara is an unusual woman, and she has so many different talents. We'll let her explain it to you. But where she is now is she is an artist, and a good one. And her forte now, she has evolved over many, many years, but she now is painting immigrants who come to this country to work the fields. And she has gotten to know them personally, and she paints them personally. And she has exhibited now in galleries all around Milton, New York. She'll tell you about it. So that's where she is now. I'd like to say hello to Barbara, and let's go back. Let's tell the story from the beginning. A long time ago.
That was a long time ago.
Yeah, we connect before. There's two things that connect Barbara and I, or maybe more, but the two is one is a farm, and the other one is her partner, Lynn. Now, Lynn's uncle, who we called Unky, was my mother's second husband. So we used to go up to the farm all the time, and especially on Thanksgiving and Christmas. And here was this wonderful natural farm with all people, and it was such warmth and great times. And this farm has evolved over the years as the owners passed and the daughter Lynn took over, and it is now this thriving organic farm. And it is run by these two incredible women. So I would like to introduce Barbara Masterson, and Barbara, take us back.
How far back? Well, I graduated in '71 with an associate's degree, and shortly after that, I married my husband. And how'd
you meet him?
College. He went to Manhattan, and he became an accountant. And we had a son. And after 20 years, I asked for a divorce. We had grown apart. So, meanwhile,
and what year was that you grew apart?
Gee, that's a tough one. 71, 81, 1990, something okay. Like 1990, 91. And meanwhile, I had been studying to get my teaching degree, and I was very nervous when I left my husband because I didn't know if I could support myself. Well, I got a teaching job in the inner city of Newburgh, New York, teaching art, and I did that at the junior high level for 11 years, and then went to the high school and taught all the advanced drawing and painting classes until the end of my career, which was 2014.
And did you raise the son in your house, or was it split?
He was a senior when we separated, so he was with his father, and then he was off to college. And so basically, he stayed with his dad. So meanwhile, after the divorce, I had dated a couple of men, but Lynn and I were always good friends. I mean, we'd hike together, we'd go to the museums in the city
How'd
together.
How'd you get to meet Lynn?
Teaching. She taught at the same junior high that I did, and she impressed me because when we had assigned parking spaces, so I had to go in through the gym. She was a phys ed teacher. And she would sit there every day and do the New York Times crossword puzzle in ink.
woman after my own heart.
Yeah. So we became friends, and since I'm not a natural sports person, any sport question I had, I would ask her. I started taking up tennis and fell in love with tennis and talked to her about that. When I told her I wanted to start rollerblading, she said, well, which do you want to do, play tennis or go rollerblading? So anyway, after the divorce, we were on a hike and she asked me out. And I kind of like had a, I don't know.
A date? Like, she
A
asked
date.
you out on a date?
She asked me out on a date. And
Well, had she had any hints that you were, like, I mean, she knew you were married and had a kid. Did she have any hints that you might even be interested or offended by such a comment? How do you cross that line?
I don't know. It took me 3 days. And then I just couldn't figure out a reason why not. There was no reason in my head that put up any flags. So we went out dancing. I said, I'll do anything but dance with you. And so we went out for sushi, and then we went dancing, and we did that for 23 weekends in a row.
Interesting.
Sushi dancing. Interesting.
Yeah.
Combination, right?
So I've been on the farm now 30 years. We had a ceremony. Oh God, when was that? I'm terrible with dates. In 1994, I think. 94 or 5. No, maybe it was 96. And then we got legally married a couple of years ago.
Very nice.
Yeah. And so that's been great. It has been great.
So how did your family react to this?
My mom was fine with it. She came to the ceremony and that we had many years ago, and everybody was fine with it, really, which was cool.
Yeah, I mean it's quite a transition, and it's really nice if the family is supportive. I mean, in all the years that I worked in my office, it wasn't always the easiest topic to bring up in a house,
right?
And the reactions were from violent to supportive. I mean, it went the whole gamut. So your mother was supportive, and was your dad still around for this?
No, he wasn't. No, he passed earlier.
And siblings, aunts, uncles, anybody else voice an opinion or?
My younger sister thought it was great, and my older sister thought it was odd. But we all are on friendly terms. We talk to each other all the time.
Yeah.
They don't live near me.
Yeah. And what about your son? What was his initial reaction?
He was fine with it. And then he and his first wife ended up moving to the farm where he presently is not here. And he moved out, and his first wife, Stephanie, gave birth to 2 girls who are 13 and 14, and they're fabulous kids.
Yeah, lovely kids.
They help on the farm, unbelievable. They're really, one of them's going to be driving that big tractor soon, I know it.
So add grandma to our list of things that she is, right?
Yeah, Granny.
And these girls, I see them working around the farm. There's no fear. I mean, they do everything. No. Farm work is not for silk hands, No. You don't polish your nails a lot. You're getting dirty, you're wearing boots, you're dealing with animals. Tell us about the animals and stuff that's on the farm. What I want you to talk about how you get involved with Lynn, you're involved with a farm.
Right.
And so that was also, from being a school teacher, that had to be a transition for you as well.
It did.
Can you tell us about it?
Well, when her dad was alive, and he said to her, you're not going to want to milk cows for the rest of your life, because we originally were a dairy farm. And I was here when it was a dairy farm, and we would drink raw milk, which was fabulous. So they decided that they would turn it into a beef farm. And it's always been organic, even before any buzzword was organic. And so they changed it over to a beef herd, and presently we are certified organic, 100% pasture raised beef, which you can probably not get many places. And we have right now 11 mothers, and they all have offspring. And then we have the hoodlums, we call them, they're teenagers. And 3 of them just were sold to another farm. And this week we're going to be sending 3 to market. And we sell our beef straight from the farm. It's all custom cut according to what the customer wants. With that, we decided one year that we would start raising pigs. So we got a sow, and Stephanie, daughter-in-law, learned how to artificially inseminate pigs and cows. And
Amazing.
How
Yeah.
interesting.
Amazing.
Wow.
and so in any case, we have 1 pet pig right now, and we just sent 12 to market. And they are as well custom cut to the customer's liking. And on the farm, we have a little self-help store that you can go into, sign your name, take what you want, and put the money in the till. Because you never know where any of us are. So we can't sit up there waiting for people.
So what made your daughter-in-law interested in doing this? I mean, had she grown up on a farm or in a rural area or anything?
She actually grew up in Westchester, but she went to the same college my son originally went to, which was, it's a ranger school upstate.
Okay.
And ended up going to Syracuse and then coming here to the farm. But she's always loved animals. She's very good with the animals. She's better with the animals than I am, for sure.
Tell us how big the farm is, and people might not have an idea of the scope of this.
You mean like acreage?
Yeah.
We have 350 acres.
Right. So it's a no slouch farm, and it's got a lake on it and everything. Right?
Yeah. And several buildings, several houses, and about 18 or 19 years ago, we bought an adjoining farm that increased our farm by 100 acres, because that was a time when people were developing up here, and we didn't want this whole hill to become a development. So we bought another farm that was for sale, and we cleared the orchards ourselves, and now they're all hay fields. And there is a house on it that we just recently had renovated, and we rent.
So where in the state of New York are you? I mean, obviously, you're not in the city. You're out on a farm.
Right. We're about an hour and a half north of Manhattan in the Hudson Valley, and in a place called Milton, New York, about 20 minutes south of New Paltz.
Okay.
Yeah. It's beautiful. It's really beautiful, especially this time of the year.
And tell us what else is on this farm. So far, you have cattle and you have pigs.
And we have geese and ducks and dogs and cats and
chickens.
Chickens, right? And chickens, right? I forgot about the chickens. We have laying hens, and then once a year we do what's called we raise chickens for meat birds. So they're actually we rebrood them in the room that's right next to my studio until they're old enough to go up into the fields, which is about 2 weeks. And then we created these hoop houses that we put the birds in. And so each house is moved twice a day, and they're given organic grain. And of course, they're eating the grass, and they're in the pastures that the cows are in. So we do that, and then we slaughter them ourselves in, what is that, 8 weeks? I think it's 8 weeks. And process them right here on the farm and sell them directly to the public.
And I have had direct exposure to that experience.
Yes, you have.
I've been up many times, and I was the neck cutter. These are kosher chickens, right? So they
are.
They had to, you turn them upside down in a cone, and they had to bleed out before you could take feathers and take anything off them.
You know,
so it's an interesting process, and it was all the neighbors and every community comes up to do this. This is an event.
Well, it's interesting that you talk about it that way, because I know growing up in Detroit, for the holidays, we would go to, um, I don't even know what it was. It was this big hut with ducks and geese and turkey and chickens walking all around. And my mother and my grandmother would point out the ones that they wanted. And then it was a ceremony to watch them, slit their throat and drain the blood out. Um, and I just thought that was a normal presentation. When I mentioned it to friends of mine, they look at me like, how gross is that? But how do you think we get those chickens on our dinner table?
Yeah.
Exactly right.
Yeah. Everybody likes it when it's on their plate, but they don't know how it gets there.
Right.
Yeah. Which is a good segue into what I'm doing now with the paintings, actually, if you think about it.
Okay, go ahead.
For many, many years, I have been known as a plein air painter. And that's someone who goes out on location and paints on site. So in 2015, I was out on a farm, and the migrant workers came into view, and I thought, oh, that's cool. So I gestured them in as shapes in the fields and whatnot. And as I was doing that, with their permission, I took photographs with my phone. And so I would time when I would go out to paint, when I knew they were picking, or when I knew when they were doing things. And I did that all summer, and then they left, and I was devastated. I really didn't know what I was going to do, because I had not become friends with this first group of men, mostly men, but they knew me and they knew I meant no harm. And sometimes, especially the Hispanic fellows, would carry my easels over rough terrain to where I wanted to go. And so thankfully I took those photographs, and I was inspired one day to start painting them large in my studio, which is a far cry from my other paintings, which were on the small size. And so now I've been painting them since 2015, and I've gotten to know one group of men very well. I know about their families in Jamaica. I know about their religious beliefs. I find clothing for them, and anything that they need, I try to get to them. This year it's been particularly hard because of COVID. I haven't been able to see them as much, and I obviously I'm not bringing them as much as I have in the past. But I actually made a point of going to see them today, because it hurts my heart when I don't see them. And I went to see one fellow, his name is Alfred, because I knew he was off today. And as it were, in these barracks that they live in, there's orchards around them, and they were picking apples today. So I saw everybody, and it was really good. It was good for my soul.
And how have they grown towards you? What
Oh,
is
they smile and say hello. They're not people of a lot of words, actually. And my Spanish is not real good, but we do have a good time laughing when I do speak Spanish to them using my translator. And those fellows are very fun. Yeah. So my goal now is, because of COVID, all of my shows have been canceled, this season. And we actually, a group of us in this area, we're going to have a studio tour in May. And so I renovated my studio, I doubled its size, and then of course we had to cancel that. So my mission is to get these paintings out so people can see them and understand where their food comes from, and what men go through, people go through to get here, to stay safe. And it's massive. I know a lot of information about the men and the process, but I don't know all of it. And I've made this little booklet. I got a grant last year to do drawings of 12 of the men that I know the best. And these are those 12 men. Actually, this is Alfred. This is
Nice.
so in this little book, I have questions about things to prompt people to think about where their food comes from and what the cost is to our society and the world, actually.
This is a very good subject, especially now going into the election year, because we talk about, all these migrant workers, and people have a negative connotation on it because of our government leaders, okay? But
Right.
without these migrant workers, we wouldn't have the food that we have on our tables today, because most of our own young people don't want to work the farms.
Right.
And I think what you're doing there is so important for us all to understand. Who are these people? Why are they coming to America, leaving their families behind? And they do want to have a better life. And they're giving us a better life by working on the farms.
Yeah.
They are.
I remember what Guillermo said, one of the former guests, who was talking about him being an immigrant and coming from Spain when he first came here. Now, he's an upper middle class guy, but he talked about nobody who comes to this country wants to leave their friends, wants to leave their family, wants to leave their culture, wants to leave their own food, wants to leave their music and go to a brand new place where they're not wanted and try to eke out a living. You do it because you have to. You do it because there was limited choice. And, it takes me back all the way back to Cesar Chavez out in California, where, it was the first guy who really stood up for the migrant workers and fought against their being abused, but with wages and living conditions, etc. And here we are now, we're still fighting.
Yes, we are.
So what makes them come to the United States? I mean, obviously there's work, but do they feel displaced when they're here? Is that the stories that you're getting from them, or do they feel welcomed?
Well, this particular group of Jamaican fellows and Mexican fellows, they've been coming here now for many years. And the Jamaican fellows are older. Desmond, a fellow that I've painted many times, he's 70. Can you imagine doing that kind of work when you're 70, climbing trees and picking apples and in the heat of the day and the cold and the wet and the rainy? And the Hispanic fellows seem to be a lot younger. They seem to be in their late 20s, early 30s. So I think they have kind of a community here. I know the Spanish fellows, Mexican fellows play soccer on Sunday. I can't even imagine that after working like a dog all week. And the Jamaican fellows kind of stay by themselves, but they know each other.
Interesting.
And they've known each other for a long time.
My question would be is why Newburgh and why Milton? Why come to Hudson River Valley in New York, where there is a cold winter and snow and stuff? Why wouldn't you go to southern part of the country and work all year round?
Well, I can't answer that, but workers are needed up here all winter. The worker population right now is at its maximum because it's apple picking season, and the Hudson Valley is known for its fabulous apples. However, unbeknownst to me a while ago, I didn't realize that the trees need tending all year round, and I've done some paintings of the fellows in trees in the dead of winter when there's snow on the ground and ice all around. So the trees have to be trimmed, every single one of them, every single year by somebody.
So they do get work in the winter?
Yes, but not a lot of them. Right now, I don't want to take a guess and be wrong. Right now, the farm I'm involved with is at capacity, but during the winter, they shut the barracks down and they only have 1 or 2 men stay on.
And in the current COVID situation where you live, there's no ability to wear a mask and go into a gallery, et cetera. I mean, because in New York now, you can go into restaurants. There's, around here in New Jersey, there's 25%. You can go into a restaurant. There's outside dining. That's not allowed around where you are?
Well, galleries are opening up very, very slowly. But of course, all of their shows that were scheduled, I don't know what each gallery is doing specifically, but it's been upheaved because of COVID. So, but they are opening very slowly.
And how is it for these workers? So you said they live in barracks. They must be living in close quarters. They're not related. How do they deal with it?
I'm not sure. I mean, the way I look at it is they are working in a pod, actually. They're working together. They don't go out and socialize. So they don't wear masks. I've seen them wear a mask occasionally, but while they're working outside, they don't wear a mask. And when
Do you know if there's any testing available
when I went
for
to
them?
see them today, I don't know. And I do partner with Worker Center for Justice of New York and Rural and Migrant Ministry. And I know they try to reach out to the workers, but of course, if the farmers see them, I don't think they're really welcomed.
Do they work your farm?
No. No, we work our farm.
Well, you're a workforce of two, so you got to get a lot of help, right?
Yeah, our friends help us. But yeah.
So what's planned now, Barbara? What's your next step with these? You making films, or you said you got a grant to? I saw the book that you had. What other things are in the pipeline for you, and to continue educating people about these migrants and your story with them?
Well, I have recently reached out to about 20 people, gallery owners, and museum curators that have expressed an interest in my work, or I have shown at like the Katona Museum down in Katona, New York. And I've reached out to them to try to put my story out there. And I'm waiting to hear about anything from them. I'm kind of lost right now. I really don't know which way to go at this point.
So you're being slowed down by the COVID, but as the time evolves on that and things change with that, then you'll be able to get more movement and be able to get more galleries open and get more activity.
Yes. And I'm associated with a gallery in Troy, New York, and the Martinez Gallery, and she has just put up a beautiful online virtual exhibit, which I'm a part of. So the gallery owners are also changing their methods and trying to figure this all out. So I have another gallery in Saugerties that I'm involved with, and he has physical work, but he also has work online.
Yeah.
So
tell us, give us a sample. I mean, they see this beautiful woman who looks like a fine artist, etc. And during the day, this is not Barbara. During the day, Barbara's got boots on, she's got jeans on, she's digging in the ground, or she's carrying a million things, or working with. Tell us about the other life that you have as you have to wear these different hats.
You mean like putting my garlic in the vegetable garden now that I have to do?
Yeah.
Yeah, I have to go dig up the beds and put some garlic in there so we have some next year.
Barbara has this whole vegetable garden outside, vegetable and plants. Tell us about, I mean, it's absolutely beautiful when you see it. Tell us about what you have to do to get it to look like that.
the weed and water and protect and look for bugs and harvest and then do something with that harvest, because what are you going to do with 50 pounds of tomatoes if you don't process them and put them in the freezer? But what I try to do is raise all our vegetables for the entire year. So presently right now in one of our freezers, I have corn and peas and green beans and broccoli. In my storage closet, I have onions and potatoes. So, involving all of that, the care and all of that is a lot. We had just recently something happen that has never happened here. I looked out one evening about dusk, and there were 8 deer in the vegetable garden.
Oh my God.
Yeah, and the biggest
They knocked down the
disappointment,
fence?
they jumped over it.
They jumped over the fence.
Yeah, the fence is only about 2 feet high, 2.5 feet high, but they jumped over and they went in and ate a lot of things. And then, so now we're considering putting up some kind of deer fence somewhere.
Wow.
To protect it, because why do all of that work and then
Absolutely.
have some deer eat it? I mean, it's not like there isn't a lot for them to eat around here. I mean, there's apple orchards all around, and they eat all the apples from the ground. And within the same time frame, there were also, Kenny, deer that ran through the barnyard, and startled all the cows, ripped down some of the electric fence and the woven wire fence. So of course that has to be repaired.
Wow.
Yeah. So
you're responsible, besides taking care of the animals and taking care of the vegetables and everything else, you also have to take care of all the repairs.
pretty much. But like I said, the granddaughters are getting really good at fixing electric fences and finding what the problem is. Yeah.
I've always been amazed every time I go up at the farm, the amount of knowledge it takes to learn about the soil and the feed and to keep everything organic, and then learn everything about the animals and the diseases they have, and the plants and the diseases they have. And it seems like it's constant care every day, everywhere. I would be overwhelmed. And then what's amazing, what keeps I think about you, and she finds the time to paint these gigantic portraits. It's just, there's got to be 48 hours in her day. I mean,
Well, I usually get up really early in the morning and I paint until I can't paint anymore, because that's the priority. You know, I am an assistant on the farm, really. But the painting is a priority, and Lynn understands that.
so you paint first, and then there's the chore list.
Yes.
So have you put out any of your paintings online at all?
I have a website, and it's up to date. I keep it up to date. So
Tell everybody what it is.
it is www.barbaramasterson.com. Easy to remember.
Absolutely.
And I see the portraits behind you. Can you maybe show them to us?
Sure. I can just take a little walk if you want.
Yeah.
Let's see. They have to be behind me. Oh, there's my easel. Let's see. There should be a flip thing.
Yeah. In the front of the phone, if it is a flip thing. Oh, there it is.
Oh my.
Show us the detail, Barbara.
Let's see.
Look at those eyes. Wow.
Yeah, she really captures them.
Absolutely.
Show us more, Barbara.
Okay. Walking around the room.
Focus in on one of them so we can see it closely.
Let's see.
Wow. That's the 70-year-old man?
He's probably close to it.
Looks like a photograph, really.
Yes, it does.
And then I found that during this time, these large paintings have become a bit difficult for me to stay with. So I started focusing on their hands. And this series I call The Hands That Feed Us. I don't know, are you seeing these?
Yes.
Yeah, beautifully.
Fantastic.
Oh, thanks.
Wow.
And it seemed that it was easier to focus on those smaller paintings.
Sure.
And tell us about your colors, Barbara. I know colors are important for you.
Oh, I love color, obviously. And what I do is in every painting, for instance, can you see the field workers here?
Yes.
Yeah, we see
absolutely.
5 of them.
5 of them. They were not wearing those colors, but I invented those colors because I want you to look at the painting and I want your eye to travel in a very specific way. So hence, certain colors are repeated or made brighter or to make you look around the painting. And I do love color. So.
Your work is fantastic.
Isn't
Thank
it?
you.
Yeah.
Thank you. This is what I'm working on now. This fellow. Can you see the guy on the
Yeah.
easel?
Yeah. Yeah.
He's not quite finished yet. He actually was a man that I met in Newburgh, and I went to pick up ice for the chicken kill. We had to get 350 pounds of ice. So I would generally go down to this big ice place in Newburgh, and they packed the car with ice. And so I was in the office waiting to put my order in, and this fellow, his name is Saul, he walked past me and he had such a scowl on his face. And I thought, why he looks so unhappy? He happened to be the one that packed my car. And so as he was packing the car, I said, you have a very kind face. Well, then he beamed. And I gave him one of my business cards and I said, this is what I do. I said, I paint portraits of very hardworking people. I said, would it be okay if I take your picture? So here he is, all bundled up because, working in an ice house. And he told me he was from Haiti and how he works very hard. And I said to him, well, if I do a painting of you, I will come back and give you a print of it, which I do for all of the men, all of the people. And so here is another hard worker that, nobody sees that I want people to see.
Absolutely.
Hmm.
You've opened my eyes, beyond what I ever would have thought. Okay. I didn't think I was that naive as to what happens on a farm, but to know that these people are so devoted and, they're doing this for us, for the things that we're buying at the grocery store.
Yeah, they are.
I think both of you know that I spend 4 months a year in Mexico.
Mm-hmm.
And have gotten to know the culture of Oaxaca, and certainly the laborers get my eye every day. And we just got a letter from the woman that cleans our apartment. She cleans the whole building, and just a lovely woman who also takes care of her family and somebody else's family because, you know, the father is sick, so she'll go and cook at their house, and then she'll go do the laundry for somebody else. Then she'll come and take us. So we help her out financially when we're not down there, you know. When we're there, we're paying her to do it. But when we're not there, you know, that's a loss of income for her. And so we help her out. And I got this wonderful thanking God for us from her because, you know, out of heaven dropped you people, and, you know, kind of stuff makes you cry, you know. And when
That's
you
nice.
say that your heart hurts when they're not around, well, I feel the same way. There's a whole community of people that you feel for that. I wish I could paint them. I take their pictures and put them on Facebook. But down there, I teach in the street children's school, and these are kids from indigenous parents that don't have Spanish-speaking parents. They have indigenous-speaking parents. So they're just about learning Spanish to cope with Mexico. And in this school, we're trying to teach them English so that they can, if they can speak Spanish and English by the time they're, you know, teenagers and stuff, their chances of work, other than just being a laborer, they can make more money. And the language is very, very important to Mexicans, and school is important. And so, you know, I can't wait to get back and see these people again. And, you know, you can just do so much with Skype and Zoom and stuff to see them. But I really feel what you're talking about when you get to know these men and the culture that they are. And I think you're doing a tremendous service for them, Barbara. I think it's really a good heart thing that you're doing.
Thank you. It certainly has transformed not only my painting, my subject matter, but it's transformed me and opened my eyes to a whole different world.
And especially in the political climate, you know, of that maniac in the White House, the way he has abused immigrants and talked down to them, while at the same time hiring them.
Yes,
You know, it just can't wait for the culture to change, where, you know, we welcome and make known that we welcome this kind of worker, because we absolutely need them everywhere. I mean, Trump couldn't run one of his hotels if these workers were not here.
absolutely. Absolutely.
Well,
And if you go into the restaurants in New York City, which I do, there's always a Mexican or a Dominican or someone cooking your
Absolutely.
Italian pasta or making you chicken, or, you know, they're everywhere in terms of they're behind the scenes is the
you
point.
know, and it's not just in New York. You know, it's in all cities all over. On the weekends, you know, I'm an IT person, and I work at a Best Buy as a rep, and 99% of the people who walk through those doors at that store are Mexican, Spanish descent, and they are hard workers. You know, they're in there spending their money from the hard work that they're doing. And I didn't realize that we had so many migrant workers here in Ohio. And, you know, as I'm, you know, getting to know them, it's like, how interesting is this? This is an
Yeah,
education in itself. And I think we have to open our eyes to it and, you know, embrace them.
absolutely.
All you have to do is go to the suburbs. You want to find the immigrants, you go to the suburbs. You look at all the landscaping that's being done, the construction workers, the
Yeah.
roofers.
Yep.
Every town has a need for the workers, and most of them have a central pickup spot in the morning where the men show up, and those come by. I need 6, I need 7, and they pay them for the day's work. Now the range of money is going up and up because I use them myself. Right now my house is being painted by a couple Brazilian guys with Mexican help. So, you know, we all use them. Hopefully we all pay them what they should be paid.
Absolutely.
Well, this was a very interesting conversation. We want to have you back when you can do an actual show. Maybe we can actually arrange that for a podcast, Ken, where we prepare you and you talk about each picture.
Oh, that would be cool.
I think that would be a lot of fun, and I think people will start to relate to it.
That would be,
Excellent.
that would
Great
be,
idea.
sounds like fun. Yeah.
Okay.
So I want to thank you very much, Barbara, for being on the show today. You've really informed us, enlightened us, and it's wonderful to see your commitment and especially your talent. So,
Well, thank you, Ken, for thinking of me and inviting me. And Karen, it was a pleasure meeting you.
Absolutely.
And let's continue.
Absolutely. And we'll
Okay.
make sure that your website is in the description of today's show, so nobody has an excuse not to go out to it.
right. And
Okay.
you should go see it, BarbaraMasterson.com.
We will do that. Have a great day, everybody.
Thank
All
you.
right.
You
Bye,
too.
Karen.
Bye.
Bye-bye.